Salutations. This is TNathan with Free Zone Live. Petra here, of course, and our new friend Daniel. And we are at Petra. Where are we?
The Bow in Biloxi.
I thought it was Club Bow. Okay.
It's the Bow Bar and Grill.
The Bow Bar and Grill. I'd like to thank them for allowing us to use their facility today. Had last minute technical difficulties. So this is where we are. We got some new equipment, so bear with me while I get my cues right. We're going to be talking today. Thank you all for joining us. Come on in. And as soon as P gets everything ready, we're going to take off. P, why don't you introduce your friend? Tell us a little about yourself and this establishment we're in today.
I actually met Daniel a week and a half ago. I decided to let loose a little bit, and I came to the
got
vault.
Drunk, you all.
I came to the vault, and I hadn't been to the vault in a long time, and I gotta give the place props. I'm extremely judgmental of places, almost more than TNathan, but almost more, but not quite as bad. But anyways, the vault is extremely welcoming, and it's a humanitarian bar that everybody's welcome, and I want to give it props, and I want to thank them for hosting the show tonight. And what do you like to say?
Well, I just wanted to let everyone know that we are doing hurricane relief. We were originally going to partner with the Red Cross and other impact organizations, but after evaluation, we're going with the Salvation Army and other impact organizations. So we want to get a lot of non-perishable goods, any donations, anything. We would like to be a drop-off center so that we can work with, the coastal. Our motto here is, one coast, one love. So we're very supportive and very open to everyone, anyone and everyone from all walks of life.
Are there any hours for drop-off?
Whenever. The bar is open 24 hours, so just come in, speak to a bartender. I'll be here till probably 4 a.m. tonight. Colby will be here till 2. Brandy comes in the morning at 5 a.m. So, somebody's here at all times.
Well, okay.
I'd like to commend you on your efforts, right, to help out hurricane victims. And this is what it's about, people. This is what community is about, reaching out and helping. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're in need, even reaching out and helping. All right? So, are you going to sit in with us, or are you going to get back to work?
I'm going to get back to work.
It never fails.
I know.
Every time we have a broadcast, P here will go and start replaying the live version while we're live. Never fails. All right. Let's good in. All right. Oh. See, that's what I mean. We got to get right now. So, like I said, once again, thanks for joining us. This is Free Zone with, and we are here. We're missing Melinda. Melinda, she's a little under the weather today, so she's not here with us today. But I think we'll troop on, and we'll get into our first topic right now. Last night, over at the Mary C. O'Keefe in Ocean Springs, no less, we went to the Understanding the History of Mississippi State Flag event that was held over there. Mark Isaac gave a presentation that was sponsored by the Mississippi Rising Coalition and the women's group. I'm sorry, and the women's group over there. I apologize for that. And we came together, and it was a very interesting presentation. Mary Dodson was there. Shay Dodson was there. We had an interesting question and answering period, and that's what I want to get into. Right, I'll get into that because I am tired. If you all are following me, I am tired of this debate being characterized as a heritage debate. It's like everyone wants to embrace this. This is heritage. Well, I did a post today, and this is American history on my page, and I said I spoke about Ross Barnett. Ross Barnett was the governor of Mississippi in 1962 during the integration that took place at Ole Miss. Now, even aside from that, I was going to address some people that's like this has slavery is hundreds of years, and why don't we just get over it? But this is the issue. Mississippi elected a governor that believed in segregationists who ran on the platform of segregation in 1962, people. Did you hear me? 1962. So we're not talking about hundreds of years ago. We're talking about in 1962, Mississippi elected a governor that ran on platform of segregation. And then you want me to get over it because it was hundreds of years ago. Well, I'm not getting over it. And heritage, if you want to talk about it honestly, your heritage is, every time I hear that, and I'm telling people, stop telling me that personally. Just stop telling me. I know that's what you think. Don't come in my face and talk about it. Because when I hear heritage, I think you're just disrespecting or belittling the treatment of people who look like me by people that look like you in your heritage. What do you think about that?
I want to go back to why are people so proud of a heritage that they slaughtered millions of people? My heritage is Nazism. That's my heritage. Should I be flying the swastika flag? Should I be proud that Hitler murdered millions of Jews? You know, it is apples to apples. I don't understand how anybody could be proud of a heritage that they murdered millions of people. I feel like it is an insecurity within the people themselves. That they are just, that they need this. I really do. You know, my family's all German. Should I drive down the road flying a swastika flag?
No, you just drive on the left side of the road. That's all.
Because, and then they're making the argument now that swastika flag stands for a peace symbol. They're actually trying to bring it back as a peace symbol. And I want people to understand this with the Confederate flag.
I don't know if that's the issue, because that's not going to happen. Because you look at the fact that Germany has laws against flying or utilizing the swastika in their government or any form of public display.
That's true.
And so I'm not even, that's, and then we have Israel. So
but the thing is, America doesn't have laws against that. So we're going to start to see more swastika flags flying here. We're going to start to see more of this.
And I don't know what the issue is. I don't think we've always seen the swastika, the Confederate battle emblem. And that's not the new part to me. The new part for me is the number of engagement by people that think these things represent what they represented in the past. That's the issue. If it was, don't get me wrong. The swastika, I think, represents an important time in history, period. And I think the Confederate battle emblem represents just an important time. But it's the way they're being used systematically in this day and age to intimidate and strike fear in the hearts, not as a historical piece, but as a modern piece. It's like when we look at the Confederate battle monuments, and most of them were not erected directly after the Civil War. They were erected like between 1911 and 1954, and they were used during the height of the Civil Rights era to instill and intimidate people. I was talking to someone, and I posted today, racism is equal to terrorism. And then I had a long post about somebody who was telling me what racism is and it's not terrorism. And I gave him the definition of terrorism. Now, I'm going to go into a longer post later about that. But basically what I was saying is that one part of terrorism is intimidation. And racism is a systematic, institutionalized...
Agree. It's a way to keep somebody in power.
It's subconscious, and it started from the beginning. It didn't just start in 1619 also. It started all the way back to the colonialism when it first came out.
Let me ask you this. Is it just subconscious, or is it implicit bias? Where you don't...
Implicit?
Yeah, implicit bias. Is it... I attended an event the other day, and it was about how implicit bias affects people during the hiring process, because you're pre-judgment of that person, and it affects your hiring practice, which goes back to racism. Because can racism be connected with that? Let me ask you that.
That is racism.
And and it goes to genders too, though.
Well, see, that's the thing about it. It's not exclusive. It's a way of thinking, and that's what's so insidious about it, that people don't realize in this country that racism, your country is based upon a foundation that is racist and sexist and gender specific. And if you wasn't a white male, then throughout history in this country, that is what this system is designed for. And now, as we try to correct that, we have to realize that we are dealing with those implicit biases, and it doesn't make them any less. I think we had a conversation about one time, and I said, did it matter if I intended to kill you or if I killed you with intention? You're no less dead.
That was during our hate bill conversation.
Yeah, it was. You're no less dead. And I was having a conversation with anybody, and we talk about. I was watching in the news, and this they decided not to investigate the killing of the young man in Baltimore as a hate crime because the wording was the officers did not intend to violate his civil rights. So my question was that, okay, what if I just violated your civil rights? Didn't intend to violate them, but I violated them. Does that make me any less guilty of a civil rights violation?
Ignorance is not. I forgot. Ignorance isn't a way to get out of a crime. Just because you don't know it's a crime
does not excuse you from the punishment of the law.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still a little bit off.
Yeah, he is sick. Okay, let's remember that. He is sick, and that's why I'm way over here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sick.
So along with and I noticed something with the Confederate flag supporters. They are okay to use freedom of speech to support the Confederate flag and to make to tag people in threatening posts. But when somebody on the left does it, it's not okay.
Explain.
Okay, for example, during the last 3 weeks in the Hattiesburg Patriot news, okay, there's been people that have tagged people in posts with guns from the left. They'll tag people that are on the left in these gun postings. And these people, and it's a way to intimidate them, saying that we're going to shoot you. Or it's a symbolization of violence.
Like Sarah Palin when she put targets on the
exactly.
Democrats.
Exactly. Let's talk USM professor real quick. I just want to skim that subject real quick. He flicks them off, and then all of a sudden the middle finger is a threatening message. He was threatening their life.
Well, you know how I felt about that.
I know how you felt. I know. But here's the thing. I back him 100% on it because I read his open message today, and you haven't seen his open message yet.
That's all the gesture.
I have it over there, the open message. But basically, he says, acting nice is not going to be enough, as you have stated.
Right.
And that is exactly the way he's approaching. He has stated that being nice, being polite is not going to get the answer done.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what he started doing.
I agree with that. Being nice is not going to be done. But there's still a way to do things with a certain amount of self-respect and dignity. When I was saying about not being nice, I mean that I'm not going to flip you off if you have your foot on my neck, because it doesn't really get my point across. I'm going to beat you up. And what I was saying was not saying that it wasn't freedom of speech and it wasn't his choice. I just believe that there's still a certain amount of grace, dignity, and respect we can have for ourselves in dealing with these issues. I'm not saying not to.
So you're saying that applies to both sides, though? You're not saying just the left.
I can only apply, and tell you this, it only applies to me personally, because, like I say, I said what I said about the issue. I didn't like the fact that he did it, because that then justifies when people are in the heat of moment and they do things. But my problem with it was we have to be forceful and aggressive, but we still can maintain a certain level of self-dignity. It's not about going down there and not being afraid to get dirty, but that didn't do it for me. That didn't show anything. That was kind of a little tit for tat, childish to me. Instead of saying if they would have came across there and did something to him, I don't want to exchange vulgar remarks or vulgar gestures with them. Okay, that's just beneath me. I don't want to. I'm going to say what I have to say in an intelligent manner. But even
which he has done,
and he has done, and I applaud that. But I'm just saying I'm not going to let them undermine my class, my dignity, and my self-respect by causing me to do something that's outside of my character and set such a bad example. I'm not saying that we won't fight and we won't oppose and we won't speak out against. I just think we can still do it in a certain manner that we maintain our self-respect and dignity. And that's for me. Because you know I'm progressive and all that.
Oh,
I just would have. I mean, you probably would have been getting me out of jail from the GoFundMe page for punching somebody more than you would have been for.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to cover the, the point that they're using freedom of speech at the rallies on Sundays to support the Confederate flag. They're flicking people off. They're yelling at people. I've seen people's lives threatened, from the Confederate flag side. So, yeah, here's a professor that shows a middle finger, and they're all in uproar like that's a threatening motion.
I don't expect anything different from them, though. See, that's the point. I don't expect anything different from them. I expect that and accept that there's some they're going to react. They're irrational. Come on. They're already supporting a cause of a traitorous state and a losing side. Do I expect them to be rational? No, but I expect our side to be rational. So I expect us to be rational. I don't mind responding and protecting, but I just found the gesture.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
And it's going to come off wrong. It's going to come off very wrong.
Okay. Remember who I am.
Is there a certain IQ level to people that support the flag and not? Like, are the higher educated people, the ones that actually do the research, more educated on the subject to realize, to empathize, to understand what the subject is? I mean, and I'm not trying to give them an excuse or anything.
And I'm not giving them one either. But, and I'm going to say this. Do you believe that racism is a systematic problem perpetrated by just the undereducated?
No.
Okay, well, that answers your question. I know plenty of people, and you know my position on this, because we have people that say, well, we just need to talk and we need to educate, and we've been educating and talking for hundreds of years. If you do not understand that there is something moralistically wrong with oppression,
agree,
and the flag and the emblem by supporting losers, it's not an intellectual problem. That's a moral problem. That's an ethical problem that you have. It's not. I've met many of people with IQs as high or higher than mine, and they're racist bastards, and they're well educated. I mean, when you go back to the fact that it's a system that benefits you just because of the color of your skin, then it doesn't really matter about your educational class. If you benefit, as a matter of fact, the more intelligent you are, the more you benefit. I was going to
say, because, I used to believe that the racism would be outgrown. I used to think that as the older generation racist would die off.
And then you looked up at Charlottesville and saw people half your age.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm seeing people that are 18. I'm not even going to go. I've seen 14-year-olds posting racist crap nowadays. It's like, what is going on in this country that we can't be supportive of each other? Not based on, I was having a conversation with a high school girl the other day from Sarasota, Florida, and she was talking about the undocumented immigrants and stuff, and she had no idea. She's just blasting this crap out there, and I just wonder if that's part of the issue too. Is that people are just talking a bunch of crap that don't have a clue what's going on.
Could you say crap? You meant to say something else. Yeah, okay.
But I censored myself, y'all.
Yeah. That's rare.
Because I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm really getting tired of this subject. I'm getting tired of the stupidity behind this subject.
What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean?
The reason I'm getting tired of the fact that these people cannot comprehend that the fact is racism is instituted. That I'm getting tired of these, and I don't, I can't comprehend how these idiots don't see what people are saying.
Okay, but I want to send it back to you. So you're getting tired of it. What do you mean by that? You tell me what you're tired of.
Well, I'm getting tired of how they do not understand it. How do they not understand? Okay, as you speak in your videos, somebody watches your video, okay? How do they not understand what you're saying?
Because they don't have the moral characteristic and ineptitude to want to understand. It's not an intellectual problem for me, and that's why some of the people that I'm close to, and I want to tell them that as they try to educate people, most of the people that you're trying to educate, I've never seen a racist educated into being a non-racist? We give an example.
I have.
Okay, I don't believe you have. Because we give the example of George Wallace.
Okay.
George Wallace was a staunch racist. I mean, Alabama, you know your governor, your former governor, right? And he was staunch racist. He was just like Ross Barnett. He was going to defy the federal government, that integration was not going to happen in his state, and then he got shot. Okay? And then he had to be taken care of by a man of color. And then he changes his stance on racism. It didn't change because he was any more educated. He didn't know anything differently than after he got shot than before he got shot.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Yes.
Is racism grown at this moment? Is it expanding?
Is it expanding?
Yes. Is the overall ratio of racism growing?
No, that's the problem. It's not changing.
So you believe it's just staying at a standstill?
I don't think it's something that changes up and down. I think it's so insistent and inherent in our culture that it's the elephant in the room that people never want to talk about, but it's the same elephant. It's not a matter of it going up and down. It's a matter of you must kill the elephant. And we're not doing that. We haven't done that in 400 years. We've allowed that elephant to stay in the room, and we justified it being in the room, and we make excuses for why we say we're tired of dealing with the elephant. So what are we going to do? Do something else? The elephant's still there. When you have a system that is based upon
which jumps off of your idea. You have to kill the elephant.
You have to kill the elephant.
Exactly. I'm getting tired of it, so let's kill the elephant.
No, see, but you're tired of the elephant, but you're not saying what you're going to do about the elephant. I'm the one that says kill the elephant. I don't care how big or small you perceive the elephant is. The racism that is embedded in this country has not changed. It has not changed. If you want to go, it's the abolitionist movement and all these movements, and there have always been people who have a higher moral character and believe that oppression is wrong. But our country is systematically based on a foundation that is racist. And until we address that issue, then the elephant is in the room and it doesn't fluctuate. It's not like you're trying to quantify it by saying,
how do we address that issue, though?
People racist or...
Well, no, because the reason I say qualify it is because it shows if you're making progress to killing the elephant. You know, and that's why I want to ask. Like you were talking about, we need to kill the elephant, and that's the elephant in the room. That's the issue. How do we do that?
Okay, this is how we do it. We kill the elephant. We poison it. We burn it. We do everything it takes, but we join together to kill the elephant. That's the issue that we have to realize. It's like this country is based upon a system that the only way that can be changed is by this country and by us working together to change it.
I agree.
And if we don't do that, anything else is just lip service.
Yeah.
And trying to convince people that are feeding the elephant is a waste of time.
Well, that's really what I'm...
Okay. Maybe that's farther than you all want me to go.
Well, no, it's not.
Man, I'm going to qualify that. I won't say that it's a waste of time because it is working towards making sure that other people don't feed the elephant. Okay? And I leave that. Mark Isaac did a spectacular job at the Understanding the State Flag. I thought it was a spectacular job. The turnout was good. The questions were good. And Mark, great job. My thing, and like I say, you all have to understand, it's free zone with you. You can have opinions, and you can write in the comment section, and I will get to them. But my thing is that it is.
Do you believe that
I don't believe you can convince people that are racist to
not be racist
by talking to them. There is something that must happen to them, like George Wallace being shot and having to be cared for by a person of color and had to change his diapers.
That's a good example.
And that happens. It has to be an epiphany that these people have to come to. And it's just an epiphany of believing. Yeah, you can't tell me in the face of 2017 that people don't understand that if we're the same blood type, it doesn't matter about the color of our skin. These are intellectual things that people know, but it hasn't changed their mind about racism. We've had people doing Dorothy Danger go into the Beverly Hills and she gets into the pool and they drained the whole pool like she had some kind of foreign disease that you were getting scrub the pool. And you talking about, we just educate people. But educated people would know that didn't do anything to the pool.
Well, because, we both have had this discussion about, protests, different events, and all this stuff. And I agree with you, like the flag issue, like the flag event yesterday. Right. I believe it was educational. I believe it was a great opportunity for people to get together. Do I think it changed anybody's mind? No. I honestly don't. I don't believe it changed Shay Dobson's mind.
No, it didn't.
I mean, exactly. So the talking's not working.
No, and I want to quantify that because I don't want people to think that I'm against talking because, negotiating. I'm like, I am not a talker to try to convince a mind. I'm not talking to people to convince mine. I say that's just, I put it that way, that's not my strong suit, okay? And so, I just look at history and I understand why it's not my strong suit because I don't have the full faith that is necessary to do it. I'm not saying that others don't and that it doesn't help. I'm just saying I don't see how it helps because I've never seen a racist convert to being a non-racist just by talking to them. I just haven't seen it. All the history, all the people you point to in history and talk to about, I didn't see them because they just say, oh, I woke up today and I just intellectually got it.
I have a friend that used to, and some of his videos, he hated everybody.
Exactly, Lawrence. Exactly. I will tell you that. Lawrence just said, right, educated people knew Trump was a racist. And it's 45. It's 45, Lawrence. Don't be tricking me into saying that on here.
Yeah.
And they still voted for him.
You're exactly right.
They still voted for him. So.
And, talking about that, well, how do you feel about the new $20 trillion of debt that we are? That the debt is growing as fast as the stock market.
I think it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I hear people have these discussions about the debt limit and all that. And my thing about it is this, right? And people are not going to like what I say this, that we're mortgaging the future off and all this. I'm like, who do we owe? We owe China. What are they going to do? They want to come repossess something? Well, number one, we're a sovereign country. And it's like this. If you continue to loan me money and I haven't paid you back the money that I already owe you, who is this? Who's the stupid one in this equation, right?
Yeah.
You keep giving me money and I don't pay you back what I owe you. And then not only do I not pay you back what I owe you, but you can't beat me up and come get it. I mean, I understand the principle of economics, but you all start getting on me, right? And economics is like this and like that. But in honesty, if we honest about ourselves, right, the debt limit is issue that is easily solved. It's easy to solve. We can make a constitutional amendment about spending. But the people don't want the debt limit. Because, number one, if we did, look at our country, right? The top 25 spending countries on military defense in the world, right? We're number one, and we spend more than the other 24 combined, okay?
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
We take, and it's really got money. If I had money, and I could borrow your money and spend your money and keep my money, and keep borrowing money from you, China is not coming and taking the Empire State Building as payment for anything we owe them. Now, I'm not saying that it's good government, but what I'm saying is we need to get to the point where, number one, we need to get a physical responsibility of what the debt limit is. And yes, I believe that government spends way too much money. But I also believe that the argument like this is major as opposed to dealing with other things or even having this conversation. One thing I spoke out against was someone told me, oh, I guess you agree with 45 now because he sided with your Democrats and added the 3-month increment on the bill for helping Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma.
That's an opportunist.
I'm like, really? You think that I feel that way? You really don't know me. Because what I feel is that was horrible. Because it should have been a straight-up funding bill for the people who needed help. The debt limit, the debt ceiling talk, that's a whole nother argument that the Republicans don't want to have within
especially now.
The 18 months is up. That's why they were trying to put it off for 18 months. And the Democrats want to use, because they want to use it to have it before this, so we get people, okay, those are nice and all that. But let's talk about infrastructure. Let's talk about job creation. Let's talk about these things that matter. And the debt limit will take care of itself if we enact these things and take care of these things in this country. So, yeah, that's it. Educated people still voted for racists and put them in office. And Steve Bannon is not an uneducated man.
No, he's not.
He's not an uneducated
I agree
man.
with you.
The people try to make it seem like racism is just about education. And it's not, because if that's the case, then you would believe that some of the smartest people in our country should not be racist. I don't take anything intellectually away from the people that 45 has surrounded itself with. They're not educated. They're just racist. Okay. All right, that's what I think. All right, I want to go up here and see what you send me. Let me look at this. We legitimize the Confederates, so-called Confederacy without vocabulary, and that's a problem. True, Noel, true. And I wish you could expound on that, but I would like to expound on that. And we do. We legitimize a lot of things without vocabulary. We legitimize it to the point of saying, hey, what do you think you're doing when you know what we're doing? And it's like people will look at the struggle and look at what you're willing to do in the struggle and say that you're wrong. And that's why I say I didn't criticize the professor. I said I didn't like some of the way he handled it, but I didn't criticize him because that's the way he might have been frustrated at the time, and I've been frustrated. I just believe that we could deal with it a little better than that. Like Rachel said, when they go low, we go high. And Rachel, I usually mean that to say when they go low while they're looking low, you just punch them in the face because it's high, But that's just me. That's just my philosophy, right? Now, let's get back to what are we going to do about the mass deportation of undocumented?
The mass deportation, undocumented, that is supposed to be starting this month, y'all. There has been a release of a statement that I don't know exactly where it came from, but I received a message saying that starting in September, they are going to be doing roundups of undocumented immigrants. They're going to be surrounding churches. They're going to be surrounding Hispanic hangouts, is what basically they said. They're going to be rounding them up like cattle. And this is something, that they're talking like on the 19th of September is what this posting was saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't think we have the time to discuss if something's real or not, if it's fake or not. Because we know within 6 months, I think Trump has a real agenda to deport 800,000. I really do. I
didn't say it was Congress's fault for not acting.
Yeah.
And then there are intelligent people who want to believe that because that's what they want to believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't care if Congress acts or not. I really believe that Trump's still going to push his agenda.
And hasn't stopped pushing the agenda.
Thank you.
He
got elected on this agenda.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something about to piss some of my friends off. Hillary Clinton's book is out.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's book is out, right? And Hillary, I hate to break it to you, but you lost the election, and I believe that you understand why you lost the election. I get that. But she was on The View today.
Yeah, I saw part of it.
Yeah,
I was having issues.
She was on The View today talking about her book. And my problem, and this is my problem, don't try to stone me. But my problem with it is that from what I've seen the excerpts and what I've heard of the book, what does it do towards helping Democrats win in 2020? If somebody can help me out with that, I'm listening, I'm all ears. But what does it do towards doing that? What is it about this book and her jabs at Bernie Madoff?
And that's right.
Nothing. And thank you, Lauren. Yeah, you got to nothing before I got it out of my mouth. And that's my take on it. Now,
it's causing division.
Willing to give me a take that's different? Go right ahead. I don't mind. But that's my take on it. And you say it's division.
She's causing division. Because it's like, I was a Bernie supporter, and because I said, Hillary lost, and all of a sudden it went to sexism. It went to all these different excuses. The bottom line is, she went high when they went low. it's very unheard of as a president running, and that's why I ultimately, when I watched her election, I felt like she thought that she had a guaranteed win. So she did not run as hard as she thought she should have.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I got that feeling, but at first, she had reason to think that until the FBI report came out in the last minute that issue, not choosing to go to the states that I figured that I thought were key and that turned out to be key, not going to those states. But she makes a statement in the book about when 45 was stalking her on stage, and what should she do? Should she have turned around and said something, or should she just try to? Yes, she should have turned around and said something. I think that would have been a defining moment if you would have said that. This is one of those instances. And someone, if they believe I'm wrong, tell me why. But I believe that was one of those instances. I believe the election had gotten to that point where it was, if you allow him to go around and do these things and not call him out on stage, I think it would have helped her, especially with a segment that she didn't have.
Well, I don't think it would have. You know why?
Why?
Because the American public was okay with him making a statement saying it's okay to grab a woman's hoo-ha because he's the producer, okay? America's okay with that. America's okay with him running a college and getting having to pay multi-million dollars in fines for a Ponzi scheme. America is okay with all this. So let's get to the fact. America is okay with a corrupt person as president. So what would have made it different that if she turned around and confronted him? What would have changed their minds? That they're okay with all this. This has already all been announced. But here's this one instance.
I think it goes to the point for me that it would have been a defining point of standing up to at that time on a personal level. I always felt like, even though we talk about all this, this was the instance where Hillary, and I don't even want to really get into this because I think, like I said, this book didn't do anything for the 2020 election except give the Republicans a better chance of winning more offices. All right, that's what I thought it did, because it's divisive.
I agree with that.
This is what I'm gonna say about it. I believe, but for me, that moment would have been showing that you weren't standing up to somebody in a televised after the debate, or when you're not around them. That would have just showed standing up to them right then, in their face at that time, not behind, not in a news conference or anything else, but at that time, not in a book 9 months later, but at that time. And that just would have showed me personally that I would have liked to have saw Americans. Lawrence says Americans are also visual as well, though. So her turning around and seemingly making eye contact and checking him would have put a visual on her leadership from a visual perspective. And that's exactly it.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
That's it. We are. It's like, we talk about Americans are very visual. They show them something, and they didn't read it, but they see it, and then they identify with it. Noel, I think it could have backfired, and she would have reinforced the bitch persona.
And that's what I was thinking of.
Noel, we elected a racist. I think the bitch persona would have served her well in dealing with the racists, right? I just think it would have served her well. I understand that. And I'm going to say this, and I say this because I'm set. We're playing Monday Morning Quarterback, of course, but it was just for me. I think that would have, I agree with Lawrence. I think that would have shown a certain amount of leadership style that.
I understand where both of you are all coming from.
We're missing.
Because, females are looked upon, if you stand up to a man, you're looked upon as the bitch.
Right.
So there is that, it's the same stereotype as African American males have, the angry black man. It's that crap stereotype. So I understand where both sides are coming from on it. I want to get to the point, why did Hillary Clinton release that book right now? Because Trump has been running for president. We know that he never quit running for president.
He's still running
for president.
Yeah, he's doing campaign. You got campaign rallies planned.
Yeah. So my question is, first off, did Hillary Clinton plan this book release right now on purpose as a I hate to say as a revenge on Bernie? Because if Bernie runs for president in 2020, and she releases this book now, and it's causing division. I mean, how does that help the Democrats out? How does this book help the Democrats at all?
I have no answer for that. I don't think it helps them, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe money. I mean, she says she's not running for office anymore. She's not going to be a candidate anymore.
Yes.
Even though we've heard that before, but I actually believe her. I agree. Believe she's not going to run for office anymore. And I just thought that as a parting gift to not running for office, maybe you could have made the book a little more about and this is just from what I've heard, and maybe it's more about it, but this is the part that I think it helps the Clintons. I agree with you. I think it does help the Clintons.
Yeah.
But I don't
the bank is.
I think it does. I mean, yeah, I wish someone would pay me that much to write a book.
Thank you.
I got a couple of good stories I can tell. But I think it does help the Clintons. And I think it is about that more than it was about party. And that's my problem with it. That it doesn't help. And if anything, it creates this divide that now you have to address this narrative like I am right now. And I don't really want to talk about it. But you get to that point where you have to address this narrative before you can address narratives of things that actually are detrimental to the society in general, because the parties are divided. But, I guess on the plus side, the Republican Party is going through the same thing, too, with their division. So
the problem
is that 45 is president.
Exactly. And to be honest, I was laughing at the Republicans imploding, when Donald Trump, because we all knew that the Republicans were going to implode when Donald Trump became president, because he was going to ruffle them feathers. Now that she did it to the Democrats, I'm just wondering what is next within the Democrats.
I think one of the things the Democrats need to do is to define who they are and what they stand for, and not be like the Republicans did for 8 years and just standing for everything that President Obama stood for. And that's one of the things. I was reading the stats, and one of the things that most Americans believe about, even though the Republicans have a lower approval rating, Democrats just as low almost, but because they don't believe they stand for anything. I believe this is the time where Democrats need to carve out an explicit place and a platform that they stand on, and stand on it in spite of, and not because of 45. The things they fight for, the things they believe in, and also to realize, and they take this, I hear this stance from them, that the Democratic umbrella is big enough for everybody. No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
I agree.
It isn't. Because that's what you get when you don't define yourself well. You get anything and anybody.
Exactly.
And that doesn't help you further your goals. I think I was talking about one of my problems was I was talking and someone got on me about a viable third party. And like I wasn't a political scientist, like I didn't understand what was coming with that, or what it takes to have a viable third party. And I wanted to point out through history that the Democrats and Republicans haven't always been the only party in this country. We've gone through the Federalists, the Whigs, and other things of that nature, right?
But the Tea Party's still around, too.
And the Tea Party is just part of the Republican Party. It's a little extreme from the Republican Party. But my thing is that I don't feel that either party truly represents the will and of the people.
I agree with
anymore. I don't. I feel, we're looking at this 4% that are leading the other 96% around by the
Yes, thank you.
And centralism is going out the door. It's like it's either or, and either or are both extremes.
Yes.
And then in our community, they come and they tell us, well, if you don't vote for us, you're voting for the Republican, and you can't do that, so vote for us. To the point now, I want to tell you, you don't represent my interests any better than the Republicans, so I'm like, it's 6 of one, half dozen other. And I'm not saying all Democrats, but then again, I'm not saying all Republicans either. So, but the majority do not. They do not, and I'm sorry that that might have ruffled some feathers.
But it's real.
Friends don't unfriend me for that, I hope.
Well, but it's real. Let's get into that, because this is a topic I have been discussing for last year, okay, even before Trump was elected, that both parties have gone to the extreme lengths, and there's an issue with centrist, okay? I'm liberal when it comes to civil rights. Financially, I'm more conservative, with respect. I mean, and that's the key word. Within graphics, you don't have extremes either way. I feel like people need to reel back in, okay? I'm for a single-payer health care system.
Okay.
I'm for a single-payer health care system because the reason I am is because as it stands, if you are sick, you could go to the hospital right now and you get medical treatment. And certain hospitals will write it off, okay, if you're below a certain poverty level. I mean, I've had $150,000 written off medical bills over at Memorial.
I'm not surprised. You look like the type to have $150,000 medical bills.
I mean, I have. But here's the thing. Some people that can't get written off, they get ruined. They go homeless. They lose everything. I mean, how do you feel about single payer? Because that is the number one topic today that was on the news.
Yeah, I mean, I think that other countries have shown us that it works. I think it is no reason why our system should not, the American public should not have a single payer health care system. And to tell you this joke right quick, I was talking about this with somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually in the medical field. Well, they weren't medical. They worked in the medical field. They were office
Okay.
secretary, receptionist, or something. And I was saying about the single payer health care system. And the story to me was like, yeah, why should single people have to pay for health care for someone else, right? That is probably the problem.
That is part of the problem.
That you don't even understand what the single payer health care
Yes.
system is. And, and it's just like I was watching these people that live on fixed income and in nursing home or assisted living care facilities talk to about repealing the ACA and allowing the Republicans to do it, and why don't you have a plan in place? And I'm like, you do understand, right, that you are benefiting from the ACA.
As soon as they repeal it, you're homeless. But here's the thing. That leads back to the guy they interviewed in Southern Florida that had 4 kids. He had heart issues, okay? He still voted for Trump, even though he knew that he was going to lose his ACA. He goes, I would rather die and then have Hillary Clinton in there because I feel Trump is better for the country, even if I have to die. And I was like, I'm like, stop. So you are willing to lose your health care insurance. You've already lost everything else. You're willing to leave your children on the streets homeless and be dead to vote for Trump.
I bet he was a Caucasian.
He was. Yeah. Caucasian male, about 40, 45, overweight. I mean...
Yeah, and you hear it that way. I hear it that way that, like I say, people think I beat a dead horse, but this is my issue until I die, racism. And you get to that point where you say that it's so insidious and such a condition of the system we live in that you would rather die than to admit that you're benefiting from something that an African-American president did, and also to elect a racist.
Exactly.
And that's what I say. That's the elephant in our most room. And in some way, shape, or form, a lot of the diversity and a lot of the conditions in this country that we suffer as people of color are traced back to racism. Some of the same issues that women face in this country are traced back to sexism. And these isms are not new. And the bedrock of our foundation is built with these isms incorporated into it. So until we dig up that bedrock and get to that foundation, we have to realize that a lot of the systemic problems we have deal back to those foundational issues. That's why I say, and it doesn't get better until people with privilege ally themselves with people suffering from that privilege and say, hey, we must do something about this, even if it's take sledgehammers and jackhammers to the foundation that supports this system.
So let's, I don't think people understand what single payer is, because they're okay with Medicare, which is basically a single payer system. They're okay with Medicaid. As long as you're a white Caucasian, you're okay with Medicaid.
I think the problem isn't that, number one, they don't take the time to write, they don't understand. But a problem of it is that we deal in this country that there are certain issues, and I'm not a socialist or a communist when I say this, but there's just certain issues. There are certain issues that I believe that government was created for. And I want education and medical and healthcare to be one of those systems that is administered in a way that all people are entitled to.
I fully agree.
By government right.
I agree.
It's not,
and those are the two things they're trying to take away: education and health. And those are the two things that they're trying to dissolve.
And it's not and it's not trying to dissolve them.
But they are
narrow them down to affect the people they want to affect. It gets to the point where if it shouldn't matter if I'm Jimmy Kimmel's son or if I'm Mabel Fairley's son, right? If I have a condition and it's just the same condition in this country, I should be afforded the same.
But I don't know if they need to narrow it down. They could pull a Phil Bryant and not fund the Mississippi schools for the last 6 years and just let the federal government do it. Mississippi has not funded public education schools to the level they're supposed to for like the last 6 years, I believe it is.
Yeah, but I don't understand.
So why do they even need to go through all this when they can say, well, we just don't have money, we're not paying you?
Go through all what?
All the private schools, the voucher program.
Why do we have to go through it?
Yeah, why are they doing the voucher program when they can say that we're just not going to fund it?
It's the same thing. And appearances. The voucher program, and when you deal with people that barely have transportation to the school they go to now, and you're going to build a charter school.
So they're just cutting off that last end. They're cutting off that very end.
Making it seem like it's not their fault.
Yeah. They're good at twisting things.
But my point is that that's not the issue. The issue is that education in this country should be free up until college graduation. It should be.
I agree with that.
Education should be free. And medical care should be a reasonable price, and it should be the same price across the board for all conditions. If you have a condition and it's cancer and the medication, and then we talk about medication costs, we talk about something totally different. Big business, like Nicole says, you got corporate dollars out in business, and you can get to the point where you say, you know what, this medication should not have a 1,000% markup.
I agree.
And then we turn around and charge Medicaid and Medicare for it and make a profit. I don't mind. Trust me. Trust me when I say that. I do not mind people making profit, but there has to be a responsibility factor for governments.
Conscientious capitalism.
Yeah. Okay. The government's main point should be to take care of its citizens, and education and health care should be the main focus of taking care of their citizens. And then you combine that with infrastructure, and you combine it with the military and the health care. And then you get those are the areas which government should be in heavily. All the other, laissez-faire.
All right. You were just talking about how the government should help people. I was talking about Harriet Tubman and how she's going to be on the $20 bill. And the director everybody's okay with this except for the one person, and the one person says, it's not that important of an issue. I have other stuff. I was watching on the news.
You said one person? Did you all hear she said one person has a problem with this?
The director, well, according to the news, CNN.
The director that was appointed by who?
Yeah, Trump. According...
who? Did she just use that name on my podcast? Noel.
I think that, rounds it about to the racism of this stuff. It's just, will people finally stand up and start speaking out against racism?
Because of the $20 bill?
Because of her being refused. Because the Democrats are for her being on there. The Republicans have approved her being on there. It has gone through, according to the CNN post I was watching today, everybody was okay with it except for one person, the director over the bank. Forgot the name of it.
Department of Treasury?
Yeah, Department of Treasury.
Yeah.
And he said that he was too busy to deal with this issue right now.
Okay. So let me explain something to you, right? When you know that the person above you is going to rule a way that you like, and no matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you say. You can say, I'm against this, and I don't want it to happen, because you know in the back of your mind that the person above you is going to make sure it happens. So when you say only one person, he doesn't operate in a vacuum. He was appointed by 45. He carries the cabinet position supposed to carry out the will of the president. So when you deal with someone who is systematically going, it seems like this is what 45 is doing. He has an executive order book in front of him, right? Mm-hmm. And he has gone back to the first one that President Obama signed, and he's got clipped them off like we used to do in college, the best chapters. And he's going through, and he's saying, "What will I overturn today?" And that's
I agree with that.
And so this is the will that he is doing. This is what he's doing. He is overturning every executive order that he can, and until he gets to the point where he can get Congress to pass a major bill, perhaps. And you don't get to count the funding bill that's associated with a hurricane. Sorry, you do not get to count the funding bill associated with hurricane relief as a major bill. That just because you stamp some debt ceiling legislation to it as a major accomplishment, right? You know, these are the things that people don't realize. And then I will say this: the American public has ADHD.
Yes,
we have gone from the fact that we have an investigation of a sitting president, no matter what he wants us to believe. They have gone after Michael Flynn, and they got more information. We're talking about collusion with the Russians still. We're talking about obstruction of justice still. And we're talking about these issues that have gone back since day one of 45's presidency. And people act like they just forgot or they don't mean anything to them, right? Like, they will defend this man regardless. Like I told you, this associate of mine, because he's not a friend, because he's a supporter of 45, this associate of mine told me we just wanted somebody who would try.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
You just want somebody, you don't care if they succeed, but you just want them to try.
Yeah.
Are we that disgruntled in this country that we don't even want our president to succeed? Is racism such a part of this country? We don't even care if he succeeds. We just want him to try. We just want him to stand up for the things that the racist principles we believe in. And we just want him to try. Yeah, don't get it twisted. You keep saying American. Well, most Americans did not vote for 45. Let's remember that. Most of the ones that
the reason I say Americans is because 45 is supposed to be the representative of America, even though.
I mean, don't get me wrong, and that's one of my basic problems. I address him as 45, and people say, "Well, you're disrespecting the office of the presidency." No, I'm actually not disrespecting the office of the presidency because I don't call him that word that means, leader of the country and his name. I'm not
dictator. Is that the word you're looking for, dictator?
Yeah. I know the word I'm looking for. I just refuse to put it with his name. I refuse to do that because then I would be like ballooning the office of the presidency by saying that.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
That's why I use 45 because he has not done or showed me anything that says I would need to, that he embodies the principles of that office. He just hasn't. And so that's why I call him 45. And I believe he has done things that we're going to be recovering from in this country for decades after he's out of office.
Let's talk about that story where the
2 minutes and
where
6 seconds.
Where the Republicans are supposedly trying to get Trump out of office. What's his name released? The one we were talking about earlier. The uneducated one.
The uneducated one?
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. The one that just left. The one that just left office, and he went Breitbart.
You mean Steve Bannon?
Yeah, Steve Bannon.
The uneducated one?
No, he ain't uneducated by any means. If you go through his history, you all see that he is not uneducated. But he made a comment the other day stating that the Republicans, all the way up to Marco Rubio and all of them, are trying to get Trump and Pence out of office. That they are working actively at it.
They're not working actively at it because they haven't called anybody like me. I mean, I hear that, and this is what they want me to believe. They want me to believe you're actively trying to get 45 out of office. Start impeachment proceedings. That will convince me that let a Republican start an impeachment or articles of impeachment against 45, and I will say then that they're trying to get 45 out of office. Until then, it goes back to my original scenario. I can say anything I want to on the news.
Yeah.
But when I go into session in chamber and I vote this way and I vote this way and it's in line with what 45 wants, what is the important thing? That I said this or that I did this? And it comes down to when you want me to believe, I don't even believe the Democrats.
So it's basically like we were talking about earlier, quit talking and start acting.
Right.
Get out there and start doing things.
Yeah, I don't believe the Democrats want it either because they haven't filed articles of impeachment.
Actually, that one from Kentucky did.
No, he didn't file articles of impeachment. He talked about filing
He never filed them?
If we did, we wouldn't be having this conversation like this now. We'd be saying, hey, there's an impeachment hearing coming up. No, there was no articles of impeachment filed. He said he was.
Yeah, because he...
But got to January too.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in January. But start the conversation and show me you're trying to get rid of 45 by saying that, hey, we're starting articles on impeachment when we get back in session in January.
So, okay, everyone. I want to sit there and say I want to thank the Vulcan in Biloxi. Great place. Come on down here. The Drink and Drown. They have drag shows, Facebook. And you like to say anything else?
Yeah, I'm saying it right now. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got to get out of here. We appreciate the vote allowing us to be here tonight. And join us next week.
Don't forget our hurricane drop-offs here.
And the hurricane drop-offs, don't forget that. And we're going to be talking more about DACA and what we're going to do. Not just talk about it, but what we're going to do about it. So y'all have a nice night.
And we might be having a special guest also.
And, see, this is what's called hitting me with things I didn't know at the wrong moment, right? So I'm going to sign off now. And y'all have a nice night. Thank you for joining us.